Barnaby the Badger had one prized possession, the most perfect acorn in the whole wide world. It was shiny, plump, and destined to win first prize at the annual forest fair. High above, Squeaky the Squirrel watched from a branch. His tummy rumbled, a rumbly-tumbly tune. That wasn't just any acorn. That was the most perfect, most delicious-looking acorn he had ever seen. Tiptoe, 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 Squeaky crept down the trunk. But Barnaby was ready. He stood with his arms crossed, tapping one foot. "Not so fast, you little rascal," he huffed. Barnaby decided to get clever. He propped up a net with a stick and placed a wrinkly, boring acorn underneath. "He'll never resist," Barnaby chuckled to himself. But Squeaky was cleverer. He found a long twig, crept up to the edge of the trap, and, poke! The stick flew out, and the net flopped down on the wrinkly acorn. From behind a rosebush, Barnaby slapped a paw on his forehead. "Drat," he muttered, "that squirrel is smarter than he looks." Time for Plan B. Barnaby made a trail of shiny pebbles leading right to his garden shed. He balanced a bucket of water perfectly on top of the door. One step inside, and splash. Squeaky saw the pebbles, but he also saw the wobbly bucket. He thought. There must be a better way up. He zipped up the side of the shed and onto the roof. From the rooftop, Squeaky peeked over the edge. He saw the bucket, then he saw Barnaby hiding behind a gnome. With a flick of his fluffy tail, he gave the bucket a tiny nudge. The water poured down, not into the shed, but right onto Barnaby's head. He sat there, dripping wet and sputtering, next to a very surprised garden gnome. "Right, that's IT." Barnaby stomped into his shed. He came out with his greatest invention, the Super Squirreler 3000. It was a giant metal claw on wheels, and Barnaby held the remote control. Squeaky, who had been admiring the perfect acorn, suddenly saw a giant metal claw rolling towards the tree. Whir, clank, whir. Squeaky's whiskers twitched with worry. The claw reached up, up, up. It snapped at Squeaky, but he was too fast. He leaped from one branch to another, with the claw snapping just behind his tail. Snap! Clang! Barnaby was so busy steering his claw, he didn't watch where he was stepping. His eyes were glued to the remote control, his tongue sticking out in concentration. He took one more step back and, crunch, he stepped right on the end of a garden rake. Thwack! The handle flew up and bonked him right on the noggin. Seeing stars, Barnaby stumbled around in a circle. His paws fumbled with the remote control, and he accidentally jammed the big, red, shiny button that said Turbo. The Super Squirreler 3000 went wild. It spun in circles, its claw grabbing everything in sight. A plastic flamingo, a watering can, and the very surprised garden gnome. The machine zoomed across the lawn and crashed right into the oak tree with a tremendous bump. The whole tree shook. The perfect acorn wobbled on its pedestal. It teetered, and then it fell. It bounced off a branch, did a little flip in the air, and landed perfectly in Squeaky's waiting paws. His prize and gave Barnaby a cheerful wave. Barnaby, sitting in a heap of tangled metal, could only sigh. Squeaky took a big, happy crunch. The perfect acorn was perfectly delicious.